Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Ever17, The Out of Infinity. And, hopefully the camera's set pretty well, properly. I've actually just, last night, accidentally just tore my whole system and put it in the floor. What happens when your big toe catches electric, wires, you know, plugged into the front of the computer? Don't do that. It's not good. I'm doing it again, but I guess I'll just keep doing it. But yeah. So hopefully I got it pretty well. I think it's a little bit more zoomed out, but maybe that's, I don't know. It'll work, I'm sure. Yeah. Let's keep rolling with this. See where it takes us. You better not have asked me to. Oh crap! I can't talk today. You better not have asked me to come along. Good grief! Why can't I talk? Why can't I talk? You better not have asked me to come all this way just to tell me that stupid joke. It's only 8 a.m. in the morning. Date? Huh? Wow, she's pretty cocky about knowing everything. Everything. Different worlds, meaning the other side. Oh, really? Wow. You know, if we weren't experiencing this game from multiple angles, we think that Coco needed to be locked up right now. And she might still need to be locked up a little bit. Yeah. Come to think of it, didn't Sora mention something like this? So what you're trying to say is the people from the other side are really people from the fourth dimension. That's the dumbest thing I've ever...
できるんだもん。できちゃうんだもん。実際にできちゃうんだか
Alright,
ら。しょう
well,
がないでしょ。
It's the third
そう
eye.
とも言う。
So you can tell everything about my past then?
北端の場合は、ココのとは少し違うのかも。北端は本当の北端じゃないでしょ。北端は視点を借りてるんじゃないんだよ、きっと。北端の場合は視点そのものなんじゃないかな。
What do you mean?
ブリック・ビンケルさん。
What?
ブリック・ビンケルさんなら全部知ってると思うよ。
Blick Winkle? Just then, a massive boom rocked our eardrums. We all reflexively looked up. The ceiling of our world, the cosmos, had shattered. Immediately, a large amount of seawater rained down on us like an avalanche. Shards from the shattered wall cracked off and shot into the floor like bullets. I looked back, but Coco was gone. Coco! Nobody was there to respond. All the sound was drowned out from the water rushing in so that we could hardly even hear our own voices. Droplets of water were falling from above. White mist was rising from below. The water level was rising quickly. An incoming jet of water from the ceiling struck the whale, which was suspended in the center of the room. It bent backward hard, fell, and lay on the floor. His big mouth flapped open. Its pupils were empty. The whale was dead. Turned around, cutting through the water, and fled from the room. The doors to the whale room closed with a gurgling sound.
お兄ちゃん、大丈夫？
Spun around, drawn by Sarah's voice. She was standing there, shoulders heaving.
警報が鳴ったから飛んできたんだけど。
Looking over Sarah's shoulder, I could see people running toward us from the corridor. I turned my gaze to the door. It didn't appear to be leaking. The well room was flooded, but it looked as though the other areas were safe for now.
ねえ、お兄ちゃん。血
Huh?
血出てる。
Sarah pointed to my left hand. I looked at my palm. Where did I get this cut? Did a shard hit me when it fell and I just didn't notice? Or did I snag it on something when I was trying to get out of the door? At any rate, bright red blood was dripping from the side of my hand.
平気？
Sarah took a white handkerchief from her pocket and, taking my injured hand in hers, bound the wound.
痛い？
I shook my head. The truth was I didn't feel anything. More important than the scratch on my hand, Blick Winkle.
え？
Sarah tilted her head questioningly. More than the injury, more than the flooding, more than anything, Coco's words were running through my head.
ブリック・ビンケルさん。
Blick Winkle. Blick Winkle. Who are you? Who am I? Yes, exactly. Is he going through this again? Again? I can hear that voice again. Is it my voice or someone else's? I kept staring at the palm of my left hand. A red stain spread slowly across the white fabric. Who are you? Who am I?
北端は本当の北端じゃないでしょ。ブリック・ビンケルさんなら全部知ってると思うよ。
Blick Winkle. Blick Winkle. Blood. The wet crimson stain spread. And blood fell in thick droplets. Letting in the puddles at my feet, it spread out in the water like smoke to eventually dissolve into the seawater. Just then, my vision grew red. I could see it. I could see everything. Everything in the year 2017, a continuous flow of fragmentary images. Pieces of this world flowed by without context. I was simply an onlooker of everything in this world. My memory is really bad. This does take place in 7 days. It just said it ends on May the 7th, right? Wow. I was closer to the end than what I was. I was simply an onlooker of everything in this world. Yes, I couldn't take part. I could only watch. I was nothing more than a perception. The text is blue. Coco groaned and held her hand pressed against her mouth. The text is blue, not green. Was that? Fresh crimson blood dribbled through the cracks of her fingers. A red stain spread on the floor of the control room.
なんてこと。これはこの症状は症状。そんなのどうでもいい。見てわからないの。このままじゃココが。
ココ、しっかりするんだ。
クラナにどうしようどうしよ
う。待て、取り乱すんじゃない。みんな落ち着け。
I was only perspective and had no real sense of feeling. The link between my sight and consciousness had been broken, and all I could do was continually gaze at the scene unfolding before me. I felt neither sadness nor anger, neither impatience nor despair. I was looking at the reality in front of me as one might stare at a meaningless jumble of numbers. TF Blau, 2017, Ever17. The LMRI was scanning Coco's condition. The TF Blau virus.
しっかりしてよ、ココ。やだ、死んじゃ嫌だ。
Coco's body lay on the examination table. Kaburaki held her thin arm intensely.
目を開けてくれ、ココ。頼むよ、起きてくれよ。
Kaburaki grabbed a hold of Coco's shoulders and was shaking her violently.
おい、よせ、やめろ、少年。
That's interesting to see. It's nice to see that that he wasn't posing all stupid like that. The real Takashi wasn't. And he never did actually comment about feeling the back of his head too much. So I guess it makes sense. Takashi pulled him back from Coco. I was right about the collar though. The collar is what made me think that guy was Takashi, so I was pretty right from the get-go. I just didn't know I was right because of the hair.
バカ野郎、落ち着けよ。そんなことして何になるんだ。だってココがこのままじゃココが死んじゃうよ。慌てんな。何か手はあるはずだ。黙ってろ。落ち着け。考え。
Oops, cut him off. Sora interrupted Takashi and the kid with her hand. Looking at all of the people gathered in the face, she announced.
EBF と呼ばれる施設がこの真下にあります。テーマパークレミューの運営母体、ライプリヒ製薬。そのライプリヒが設立した研究施設が EBF です。
EBF?
Takashi mumbled to himself. It seemed as if it were familiar to him.
EBF にはこちらの救護室よりもはるかに充実した医療設備が整っているはずです。あくまでレミのデータベースからの推測ですが、EBF の診療室には最新型の高圧酸素治療装置があるようです。その治療装置を使えば白血球の殺菌作用が増大します。ココちゃんの症状をある程度緩和することができるかもしれません。
よし、わかった。EBF。とにかくそこに連れて行けばココは助かるんだな。
でも EBF に行くにはヒンメルを通らないと。ヒンメルの扉は開かないんですよ。
Of course, this isn't a real gripe, but I'm noticing that the voice for Takashi is still the voice for Takashi, so either, which is cool. I mean, that's an oversight that is not important at all. But I'm just going to assume that Kaburaki is a master at voices. he is mimicking the exact voice that Takshi did way back, so... Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna say.
とにかく行くんだよ。それ以外に方法はないんだ。無駄かもしれないけど。いや、とにかく行ってみなきゃわからないだろう。そら、案内頼む。少年、ちょっと手伝ってくれ。はい。
Tashi picked up Coco's inert body and carried her piggyback. They arrived at Himmel. The door was shut fast.
くそ、どうすりゃいいんだ。
Coco slipped off of Takshi's back. She weakly hunched over on the floor. The color of her face had gone translucent white, and her lips parched, and her eyes looked feverish. Just then,
Excellency, the tour from Himmel.
アナウンスなんだ。
誰かがレミシステムにアクセスしています。この部屋の中、ヒンメルの端末からです。
なんだって。
the access indicator light for the electronic lock began to blink, and soon changed to green. The hatch's lever raised and turned automatically. The door opened. It's pure white inside. Squinting against the brightness, they walked into the room to explore. It appeared as if this was the computer control room.
おい、人が。こいつか。扉を開けたのは。
There was someone passed out on the floor. He was a man who appeared to be in his 40s, dressed in a white lab coat.
おい、おっさん、どうした。
Takshi rushed over to the man and lifted him into a sitting position. The man didn't reply to Takshi's call. He just sat there with his eyes closed.
そもそもこいつ誰なんだ。そら、彼が誰だかわかるか。
いいえ、ID 照合できません。ですが、その服装からするとおそらく EBF の研究員の方だと思います。
Also, the fact that he was inside the office at IBF or Himmel. The researcher let out a dry gasp and opened his eyes slightly.
なあ、あんたは下の研究所のスタッフなのか。
ああ、そうだ。君は救助隊じゃなさそうだな。
With a shaking hand, he grabbed onto Takshi. The hand was covered in blood.
レミューにまだ人がいたのか。あれから6日は経っただろうに。こいつは驚きだ。
Blood trickled from his mouth and he smiled wryly.
おい、あんま無理に喋るな。
すまんな。我々のせいで。
どうした？下で何かあったのか？
Everyone stood quietly, gathered around the researcher, and seemed to have lost the ability to talk. I'm having to stop myself every now and then from reading Takshi's lines here because I'm not used to that. I'm not used to it that much. I'm used to either reading for him or the kids, so. The research worker murmured and looked up vacantly at all the figures around them.
だけど、どうしてこんな。
He suddenly fell silent. His eyelids slowly closed.
おい、しっかりしろ。
Takeshi shook the man's shoulders. There was no response, but at least it seemed he was breathing.
こうなれば、彼も一緒に連れて行くしかないでしょうね。
Takeshi nodded and stood up and picked up the unconscious researcher. Watching the situation, Sora began a quiet explanation.
皆さん、この部屋の奥にもう一つ部屋があります。見えますか？あれは EBF 用の加減圧室です。私の持つわずかなデータから判断しますと、EBF には通常のレミューよりもさらに高圧のガスが封入されています。EBF もまた飽和潜水仕様というわけです。その方が特殊な細菌の研究に適しているということもあるのでしょう。EBF の内部気圧は実に約 12.5 気圧。皆さんにはあの部屋に入っていただきます。そして 加減圧室での約1時間の加圧が完了次第、専用リフトで eBayF へと加工することになります。念のため申し上げておきますが、ここから先は容易に後戻りすることはできません。皆さん心してください。
Following Sora's instructions, everyone headed into the IBF compression chamber. So it's a good thing that she stated that it would be difficult to retrace her steps, so that when Takushi did it both times, it was a big deal. You know, otherwise, you know. The lung compression started. I feel like I need to sneeze. Don't sneeze! In that time, nobody said a single word. The compression finished. Everyone headed into the elevator. The door sealed and the elevator started to lower as though it were sliding.
Tiefe 70 Meter. Tiefe 80 Meter. Tiefe 90 Meter. Tiefe 119 Meter.
Door opened and everyone poured out. Familiar place we're at now. It seemed that there was a pool where a small submarine could dock. Although the area was directly attached to the ocean, the inside and outside pressure were the same, keeping the ocean water out of the room. It was the same as turning a cup upside down and putting it in the water. They all stopped in their tracks, and as if waiting for an alarm to go off, they studied their surroundings tensely. There was no sign of anyone.
とにかく先へ行こ
They opened the watertight door, and at the other side of the room, They opened the watertight door at the other side of the room and continued deeper into the installation. Examination room. The kid in you plays Coco, who they'd been carrying on a nearby bed. This room definitely seems familiar. For good reason. Scooby and Takushi lowered the researcher gently onto a chair. The LMRI, the same type that had been in LeMU, was in the room.
う。なあユウ、空の言ってた高圧酸素治療装置ってのはどれなんだ。
わかんないよ、そんなの。
つぐみ、どうする。
調べるしかないわ。ここのことは誰も知らないんだから。
待て。
The researcher coughed as he spoke.
おいおっさん、あんま動くな。大丈夫か。
無事とは言えんが、まだ生きてるよ。
The researcher raised his hand weakly as he spoke.
この匂い、ここは eBayF か。戻ってきてしまったな。
あんた、やっぱりここの人間だったのか。いや、それなら聞きたいことがある。高圧酸素治療装置ってのを探してるんだ。診療室まで来たのはいいが、俺たちにはどれがその装置かわからない。頼む、教えてくれ。
酸素治療。ああ、ポッドだな。合金製のカプセルがあるはずだ。中にマットが敷いてある。円筒形の柱にくっついてるやつだ。見えるかい？
ああ、目の前にある。
そいつが、そうだ。
しっかりしろ。わかった。もうあまり喋らないでくれ。
New blood appeared on the researcher's closed hand, and as he wiped his mouth.
あとはマニュアルを見てくれ。操作は簡単なはずだ。
ああ、了解した。
The strength left the researcher's hand. As he sat there, it seemed that all the life had left the researcher's body, and he looked like an old withered up tree.
ここをポットに入れよう。それからこのおっさんも。
ええ、そうね。
They put Coco and the researcher into separate pods and closed the lids.
マニュアルは？
見つけた。こっちのコントロールパネルで。
Flipping through a thick book that appeared to be the manual, you started operating a terminal a short distance away.
高圧酸素治療。セット。
The screens of the monitors attached to the tubes flickered, and both of the pods seemed to be functioning normally.
これで大丈夫なはずよ。
オッケー。
Blood pressure, heart rate, respiration rate, normal. They silently watched Coco and the researcher. Although it was too soon to say if they had recovered, Coco and the researcher's face seemed to settle a bit. Excuse me. They somehow managed to stave off death.
よかった。ええ、よかったわ。本当に。
なんとか間に合ったな。
Everyone let out a sigh of relief. Seemed as if they had escaped the worst for the moment.
さあ。
I just had a really weird thought. A really weird thought. It was a wolf that made me think it. What if Pee-Pee is Blick Winkle? I made the statement I know before that he is a very smart dog, way too damn smart for dogs. So. And Coco said he was all-knowing. So that's my prediction at this point. So we're not gonna find it out. I'm gonna cut it in a couple minutes, but yeah, that's my prediction.
ここでのんびりしてる場合じゃないぞ。
They started searching around the facility. Their aim was threefold: to find a way to escape the facility, to see if any communication lines were open, and to look for any other survivors. While Tachi, Sugumi, and the young Kabaraki were searching around IBF, you stayed with the resting Coco and the researcher. Meanwhile, Tachi and others soon arrived at a small room covered in iron plating. There were a few computer terminals there with nobody stationed at them. Operating the terminals, they scanned through some of the information there. They were searching for any information that they could use, and finally came across something interesting. IBF Visitor Registry, Coco Yagami. Coco's name was listed in the corner of a business log. Looking further into the file, there seemed to be a personal memo written by somebody. Author Takashi Yagami. Get to see my daughter for the first time in a while. Her school is on vacation, so she has a 10-day break. I've been trapped for so long in this tin can doing virus research that I'm jealous. Did they say that last time? I don't remember that. Did they do that? I don't remember them doing that. Aside, when I told her that special permission had been granted for her to come down to see IBF, she sent me a happy reply saying she would. That explained the daddy thing. With using the Doctor Who phrase, the wibbly wobbly timey wimey type stuff of this game would fit into. Tachi don't seem like a researcher though. Yeah, he wouldn't be a researcher at LeBleak. I don't think he doesn't have the. He wants to open up a sandwich shop. He wouldn't be a researcher. But I don't know how that would even happen. We've exchanged mail every once in a while, but I wonder how long it's been since we've actually seen each other. I'd just be happy if she hasn't forgotten what I look like. She meant that Coco had been to visit IBF once before May the 1st to see her father. Postscript. It seems like TY's daughter is working part-time here at LeMU. So I'm not sure if I should tell him or It seems like that did happen actually. Maybe it was that way. I can't remember. I'll have to check my playthrough before. If I can find it. I don't even know where I did a hat, to be honest. After that point, all the data was corrupted, making it impossible to check what else had been written. Alright. Perfect time to get into that. You know, now that I think about it, that does seem vaguely familiar. The TY does sound familiar. About somebody, the TY's daughter was working there, which would be, I'm guessing, Coco's dad. But did it say Tachi Yagami last time? That's what I can't remember. I'll look it up. I mean, feel free to tell me, but I'm gonna fix and look it up too. That would add a lot of weird complexity to this game. If somehow, in weird ways, Takshi and Sugumi was everybody's parent. Okay, so they're Sora. I mean, they're Sarah and Okuto's parents. So somehow they were Coco and they were Coco and Yu's parents. What? I mean, the only thing left would be for him to have programmed Sora for him to be the papa of them all. You know, that's weird. It's very weird. But anyway, yeah. I'm sure that's not right. I don't know. I don't know if it's right or not. I'm gonna say I'm sure it's not right. So that's what I'm saying now. I'm gonna find out some more next time. At least it is more than I'm finding out, rather than it used to be. So yeah, stay tuned for next time when we find out more, and I have weird moments of being confused and yet enlightened at the same time. So I hope you folks did enjoy this, and I shall see you in the next one. Farewell.